Hey, what's up guys, John here. U.S. warships now head out to the Red Sea as of about 25 minutes ago.
The U.S. has announced a new international military task force to try and stop attacks on ships in the Red Sea.
American and British warships shot down at least 15 drones in the Red Sea, but some shipping companies are suspending operations in the area entirely.
New York Times put out an article 2 hours ago saying that we could walk into a situation with a threat to the global economy, right? Another threat to the global economy. But what they're not telling you in this article, and I'm going to show you in this video, is some of the biggest shippers in the world have been issuing layoffs by the thousands.
One of the world's biggest shipping firms is laying off thousands of more workers.
Shipping giant Maersk says that it's going to lay off some 10,000 workers after a steep drop in third quarter profit and revenue.
Because the entire supply chain right now is getting redone. Meaning everything that we know about cheap goods, everything coming over from China and India and Japan coming to the West that we've been able to enjoy for 10 cents on the dollar versus if it were made here, that's all going away. Now some people might say that's a great thing, John. That's a great thing. We need to bring jobs back to America. But look at the cost of labor. Look at how expensive everything is. Imagine what that will do for people that are already on a thin budget. We're going to see a situation over the next couple of years where inflation is going to get out of control. And I'm going to show you factually what they are doing to the supply chains, what is going to happen to the economy, and what you should do to position yourself for what I believe is going to be a massive, massive wealth transfer and a very inflationary world. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. YouTube will share this content to educate more people about what's going on in the global economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself for what I believe is going to be the greatest wealth transfer we've ever seen, you're going to need great credit. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to greatcreditfast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session for tomorrow. Take a look at this. And this is pretty shocking. 12% of annual global trade passes through the Red Sea. And so because of this situation, shippers are saying, you know what, we're taking a pause. We're taking a pause on Red Sea journeys over these attacks. But look at this. They say, who are the Houthis? And why are they attacking the ships at the Red Sea? Now, look at this article here, right here. You can see Maersk, right? This company, coincidentally, they laid off 10,000 employees about a month and a half ago, November 3rd. Really good timing, right? Really good timing. Shares of Maersk plunged 18% as shipping giant announces 10,000 job cuts, says profit will be lower end of guidance. And they go on to say that to make matters worse, normal industry dynamics in such a situation aren't playing out as expected. Traditionally, when demand falls, more ships are idled. But Maersk says such activity isn't accelerating the transportation sector. And they say that it's going to be a situation where they're cutting over 10% of the workforce, right? Trying to reduce expenses $600 million. But this is interesting. So this company, Maersk, in October 30th, 2023, New York Times brought this article out saying shipping contributes heavily to climate, right? Are green ships the solution? Now this same exact company that issued these massive layoffs are now bringing forward this new ship called the Laura Maersk. And the Laura Maersk is a methanol-fueled enabled feeder container ship launched in 2023, owned by Maersk. It is the world's first container ship to be powered by methanol fuel engine. And so when you see what's happening here, it's interesting. The Laura Maersk is the first of its kind to set sail with a green methanol engine and represents a significant step in the industry's effort to address its contribution to climate. The vessel is also a vivid illustrator of just how far the global shipping sector has to go. While roughly 125 methanol-burning ships are now on order at global shipyards from Maersk and other companies. That is just a tiny portion of the more than 50,000 cargo ships that ply with oceans today, which delivers 90% of world-traded goods. Now, you might say, okay, but just one little shipping company doing this. Look at these new guidelines. Right? They need to be 20% below 2008 standards in the next 6 years, 70% in the next 26 years, right? So when you're looking at these numbers and you start to see all these deadlines that, they're saying October 30th, right around the same time, it's costing $10 billion a year, and by, the this whole thing's ramping up. The entire supply chain is going to get redone. And so if you're one of these big shippers, you're one of these big shipping giants, you're going to be able to go out there and start building out all these Laura Marsk, right? You're going to be able to do that and get these ships, you're going to be able to bring everything up to code, whereas these mom and pop shipping companies, these smaller shipping companies will not be able to do that. So you think about this, supply and demand. If you have a population of 8 billion people and you have 330 million in America, you have a couple billion people on the West, what's ultimately going to happen? You're going to start to see a situation where a lot of people in the West are going to be, happy to trade their dollars in, their pounds, their euros for goods. And they're not going to care as much about price because they don't really have an option, right? They're going to be spending a lot more, supply and demand. And so when you look at this, it says the market for green methanol is also in its infancy, and there's no guarantee that new fuel will make sufficient quantities, or at least the right price, to power a vast fleet of cargo ships. They're saying that each would have to carry at least 20,000 metal containers, which would be 75 miles if placed in a row. And they said that it's going to be very, very challenging for them to be able to there's no way. Look at this. Maersk is trying to cut its by 2040. It's also pouring billions to cleaner fuels along with investors, but making the switch even to methanol, most commercially viable those fuels today, is no easy feat. Switching to methanol requires building new ships or retrofitting old ones with different engines and fuel storage systems. Global ports must install new infrastructure to fuel the vessels when they dock. So when you see this and you look at this article here from the Wall Street Journal, here's how supply chains are being reshaped for a new era. This is April of this year. You can see very, very clearly. They say the problem is Red Sea. They may say the problem is, one country or another country or both countries or, all these different countries. But the problem is that the former way of doing shipping, distribution, supply chains is no longer accepted. That is the situation. We're walking into a new way. They say a better way. It may be. I guess time will find. We'll see after time. How much more efficient this is, and if it's cost effective, and if it actually works out for everybody, or if this is a massive rug pull in the global economy. We will see. When a measure of strains of global supply chains fell earlier this year to levels not seen before this, it signaled to some that the product shortages, port bottlenecks, and shipping disruptions of the past 3 years were over and that the new era of stability is on the horizon. And so they say the changes are playing out in factories. And, very interestingly, they say one of the really, one solution here is going to be automation, is going to be being able to rely heavily on automation and diversifying supply sourcing. The change of surface includes less reliance on Asia, particularly in China, and the use of automation technology to keep assembly lines and warehouses operations running. Apple Inc. is shifting some smartphone productions from China to India. Toy maker Mattel Inc., among other companies, expanding operations in Mexico. And even the Chinese manufacturer Hisense Co. is looking to make appliances in Mexico for the U.S. market. China, I heard recently, just picked up 4 new factories in Mexico. So you're going to start to see all of this change. So when you read these headlines and you see these headlines about, a threat to the global economy, the threat to the global economy is already baked in. We're already walking into that, no doubt. It's already here. Factually, this is what they're saying. So you have to ask yourself, if you're in a business, does this impact you, right? Does it impact you in a good way or a bad way? If not, well, what can you do to position yourself to capitalize on these trends? Because at the end of the day, your opinion, my opinion, none of these opinions matter. Facts are facts. What's actually happening is what matters. And so this is actually what's happening. You're going to see so much money being restructured and changed throughout the world based on all of these new trends, based on all of these new patterns. And so what I think is going to happen is I actually believe Mexico and some of these Latin American countries are going to flourish in the coming few years. Absolutely flourish, probably the next 10, 15 years. But over the coming couple of years, you're going to see more jobs, more opportunity, more wage increase. You're going to start to see a lot more opportunities go there. I believe a lot of problems are going to be coming for America. Because if you think about this, America is sitting on $17 trillion outstanding consumer debt, sitting on $1.6 trillion in auto loan debt. 40% of Americans can't afford to pay their student loans. You have the average American has over $6,000 in credit card debt, record high interest rates on credit cards. You have to ask yourself, as wages are falling, how can one afford to spend more for services or products? They can't, right? They cannot. And so if you're a business owner, you have an option here. If you're, looking to, build out a business here, are you going to pay an employee in America $120,000 a year, $100,000 a year, so they can pay their former debts? Because every single American is going to be looking for a job in which is going to enable them to be able to, live a decent life, right? When you go to a place like Latin America and Mexico and these different countries where the cost of living is a fraction of what it is in America, you're going to see all of this opportunity go over to Mexico, right? You're going to see all this opportunity go over to Mexico, and you're going to see a wave of defaults and situations start to unfold here in America. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're positioning yourself in the right industry, you're educating yourself, you're putting yourself in a really good position, as everyone begins to start to default, as the cost of everything continues to rise, you're going to be able to pick up assets, right? Ultimately, you're going to be able to pick up assets. And I believe that's why you look at some of the biggest hedge funds in the world, the biggest companies in the world, they're all sitting on, there's like almost $6 trillion in money market accounts. They're sitting there waiting to get ready to pounce and buy up America. That's what's about to happen. Big changes coming to the U.S. economy. And when you read these headlines, I always say this, never read the headline, read between the lines. To look at how this all connects. Every single thing is connecting to costs are going to continue to rise, and opportunity is going to shift in a global way. And we're going to start to see the biggest wealth transfer unfold start in 2024. That's my belief. 2024, 2025, it's going to slowly start to ramp up in 2024. Then 2025, 2026, it's going to be like like Indiana Jones when he's running from that ball. That's what's gonna essentially happen here. What do you think about this? Drop it below. Let's have a conversation. If you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself for what I believe is going to be the greatest wealth transfer ever. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item in your credit report, go to greatcreditfast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session. Catch you in the next video.